undergoing a spiritual journey before you die can help you experience life after death before you die, because you're experiencing spiritual life, which is that eternal life. I've also found very immediate benefits from being on a spiritual path. And today I'm going to share with you how I gave up smoking weed. I started smoking weed when I was about 16, and somehow the music I was listening to and the people I was with just lent itself to doing that, smoking weed. I was skateboarding a lot and listening to Pixies and I don't know, REM and U2 and various bands, and living on the south coast with the surfers and the skaters, and smoking weed was part of the scene. And I really enjoyed it. And I never thought I would give it up. I never tried to give it up. I never wanted to give it up. And yeah, obviously there's health problem. You can have health problems from smoking weed, and someone might want to give it up in that way. But smoking weed is also a gateway drug. I started doing more mushrooms and kind of going towards a certain thing. Although I wasn't really druggy, I would say. I wasn't really into that. I wasn't going to spiral into that. But I was a little bit, So it is dangerous. And I think that the people that I was associating with were also unhealthy. So yes, alcohol might be arguably worse than smoking marijuana, but for me, the association that I was having wasn't beneficial for me. I felt like it was kind of going a little downhill. And then I met the spiritualists, and they taught me about how I'm not the body, and they taught me about how I can experience life after death before I die. And I was really intrigued by that, so I started to go regularly to the philosophical talks, and I started mantra meditation, and I experienced a real inner joy from that. It was really incredible. It was immediate, and it was deepening. And so as I was doing that more and experiencing this spiritual upliftment by basically coming in contact with my spiritual self through contact with God, through the holy name of God, then I started to experience a little bit of the qualities of the soul, which is inherently full of bliss. It's one of the constitutional qualities of the soul. Like sugar is sweet or water is liquid, the soul is full of bliss. That's a nature of the spiritual energy. And I really got sort of like a higher taste in terms of my level of enjoyment. Although I was still smoking weed and also drinking and partying and this and that, I was actually not deriving that much pleasure from it. At least I wasn't as attached to that pleasure as I was before, because I had received a much higher sense of pleasure now through the spiritual experience. And very gradually, I I was connecting with the spiritual energy over a period of about 2 years. And when I got to the point of taking it more seriously, I noticed how intoxication really got in the way of my spiritual practice. And when that became crystal clear, one day I remember I was in the park and I was really stoned and quite drunk as well. And I was dropping my beads that I was using to meditate. So you can use beads to count the prayers that you're saying. And in that way also you engage the sense of touch by by going from one beat to the next beat, and then the next prayer, next beat, and the next beat. And then that also engages your sense of touch. So you use your hearing, you use your tongue, you're using different senses in this process, and that's why it's so engaging. And this mantra meditation, or focusing on the names of God, you do it in the form of a mantra, or you can just do it by reciting the different names that you may know. And so I was dropping the beads, and I was losing my place, and it was just distracting me. And it became very clear that day that I should give it up, because it was getting in the way of this practice that was giving me much higher pleasure. So when you start to experience the spiritual energy, then you get a lot of pleasure from it. And you can easily give up something which doesn't serve you, which usually you would do just for the pleasure, right? Just to zone out, or just to fit into a social circle, or whatever it may be, why you're doing what you're doing, which may not be very good for you. When it really doesn't serve you anymore, then you can easily give it up. The example is given of 100 euros and 10 euros. If your friend has 10 euros and wants to swap you for your 100 euros, you're not going to do it. But if it's switched the other way around, and he has 100 and you have 10, he wants to swap you for your shiny new 10 euro note, here's 100, then obviously you're going to do it because it's worth more. Right? So I was able to give up smoking weed because I had something which was worth a lot more to me. In very real terms, it was giving me a lot more happiness. If you found this video interesting, please do subscribe to the channel. And check out in the description the links to my reference material.